welcome to another edition of the Hollywood Knitter. My name is Allison, and I'm coming to you from a rainy day in Southern California. It's probably one of the first majorly rainy days we've had, desperately needed. Hopefully this storm system will mean the end of fire season in California and probably for much of the West Coast, which is badly needed. So what am I doing? This is the day before Thanksgiving, which is a holiday in the US, and I'm sitting on this quiet day talking to you and surrounded by some knitting and just looking forward to catching you up since it's been about a month since my last podcast. I am enjoying some tea in my Totoro mug. This is actually my boyfriend's mug that I got him for Christmas, but I just love the shape of it and how it fits in the hand, and I find myself actually using it, I think, more than he does. This mug is awesome. I got it from Etsy, from Pottery. I'll put a link in the show notes in case you're interested, but they have beautiful pottery. My cat is here today. She hasn't been feeling well this morning, so she woke up with a bit of tummy distress, and of which she let me know very loudly. But now I guess she's down here to hang out for a little while. Anyways, and the tea I'm drinking today are Samo Spring Tips from my, this is my tea subscription. It's called Tea Runners, and I get a box every other month of 4 different types of black tea, and it comes in these. Here it's like 4 ounces, and I like in the back you can actually see the teas. So this is kind of interesting. These are like spring tips. So these are like picked right after sprouting and not really processed. So a little different than you get. I love the taste. I really love Tea Runners. I had Plum Deluxe subscription, which I enjoyed. Well, I enjoy tea, but I'm not a big blend girl, and I'm pretty specific about some flavors I don't like in my tea, like cinnamon, and their blended flavors were kind of hit or miss for me. Always lovely packaged, always very lovely to deal with, but the flavors I got on a monthly basis were a little hit and miss. And what I like about Tea Runners is they have 4 different types of boxes you can get. You can get a blended tea. You can get, like I get, all black tea. So I don't have any additives. These are all just different types of black tea. And so it's a little more customizable. It's around, I think my box, $25 every other month. So very reasonable, and I'm really enjoying them. I'm trying to get through them because I actually, I have a pile up a little bit because I wasn't drinking as much tea during the summer. So now that fall has come, it is time to drink tea. So what do I have to share with you today? I have quite a few FOs because I got on a kind of a kick on small projects. You know how that goes. But first we'll start with what you saw last time I was working on, and these are what I'm calling the blue raspberry stripe socks. These are for my boyfriend, and they were done toe up out of Patton's Croy and blue raspberry, which is a 75-25 sock yarn that I picked up super cheap from Joann's. I think they were like $2.50 a ball, so $5 for the socks. Well, and then I used a mini skein here on the heel, which was a really good matching mini skein because I was concerned with the yardage. These did not give as tall a socks as he likes. He'll wear them, but just not, he likes them probably an inch or so taller, and I used every single bit of the balls, every single bit. But I like them, so they're on the sock blockers now. His sock blockers hanging on the wall until I make the next pair. So that was good. And then I got kind of on a hat kick. I wanted to make some small gifts. I showed you the acrylic yarn I picked up to make my new niece to be some new gifts, and so I worked on those. And the first thing I did were troll hats. This is a pattern by Gabriella Widmer Henke. It's a free pattern, and I actually, out of Red Heart Roll in Tweed and Berry Blush, which is 100% acrylic, I got 3 hats. So this is all from the same yarn. So it's one of those kind of marled color changing yarns, which I really like. And I did 2 newborn and 1 toddler hat. So these are probably one of these. The small one is the newborn. So the newborn and then probably toddler size. So I got 3 hats out of it. I just wanted to use it all up. I'm actually going to only send one of these to my niece. Probably the really pink one because my sister is very into the pink. And then the other 2 will go in my gift box for future babies. And I really like the purples. I think it really worked well. As you can see, on one I did like the tip, which is per pattern. And on the other one, I really did not. So that was like 2 or 3 days of knitting. They were super fast, worsted. I forgot how fast worsted goes. And they were, you know, knit in the round, very, very simple. So, but I was happy. Another hat I did for my sister is called I Heart Cables by Justina Lorkowska. Another free one. And I was kind of looking for a hat for my niece since she is going to be born right around Christmas and it will be winter there, that she as a newborn could wear that would cover her head and her ears, like kind of hang down, have ear flaps. So I hit upon this pattern, which was in Ravelry, and actually it probably goes like this. So you can kind of see has the ear flaps, and then it's got some cables, and I did it in the same red heart roll in the tweed that the other hats were done out of. So it kind of comes down from this kind of a gray and pink into like pink on pink, and then the pink on purple. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. That ended up being, I don't know, about 100 yards that took that hat with the cables. So these are the 2 hats I'm going to send her. And I think then my niece will be covered for some hats. And I'm sure she's got a lot of stuff for the new baby. And while I was doing that, I decided I should knit my sister a hat. Because the whole reason these are in acrylic as opposed to something else is because my sister is allergic to wool and rabbit. So I have to make her things out of acrylic, but she's very knit worthy. So I don't mind making things out of acrylic for her. But I decided to make her a hat. And so I made her the Molly hat, which is a hat I've made before. And you can kind of see, it's just got the cable and then just kind of an all over pattern. And I knit this in Red Heart Unforgettable and Heirloom. It's kind of this kind of thing. And it ended up doing kind of like a stripey pattern, which I kind of like. And it's pinkish and with grays and it's soft and I think she'll like it. My sister is very into pink for herself as well as wearing. So I picked that up. So when I send the baby hats, I'll send mommy a hat too. And I had a fair amount. I think I used about half the skein, maybe a little more than half the skein. So I have some left. That will go into my scraps. And then the last thing I finished is I finished one more pair of socks. And so I'm going to put them on the sock blockers. I've been working on these also for a while. I started them in early October. And these were socks that I started on a sport weight. And I don't do a lot of sport weight socks, which I'm not really sure why, because they go so fast. But I decided on these because I started these because I was going through my stash and trying to pick the oldest yarns I had and trying to work with them, which is what I do periodically, you know, try to refresh the stash. So I kind of go into Ravelry and see which was my oldest things in my stash and then try to work with them. And since I have a lot of fingering, I didn't realize even this was a sock weight, I don't think. I did socks. And I did another pattern I'd done before, and this is the Ducky pattern by Samantha Hayes. It's a free pattern. The yarn is Dragonfly Damsel, which in 100% merino and Schulfrifrod. I'm saying that horribly, but really simple lace pattern. I did them toe up, which is a little different than the pattern. I really just took the stitch pattern kind of idea, and because I did mine toe up and the patterns, you know, cuff down, and I did my normal heel I'm doing now with the gusset increase. So these are a beautiful pair of socks, and I'm going to give them to my mother because I have too many socks. So they're going to go into a gift bin. I'll probably send them out for the holidays for her, or when I send the baby hats. So that is all I finished. That's a fair, I mean, 2 pairs of socks and 4 baby hats and a regular hat. In addition to working on my other big projects, which I'm going to show you. Pretty pleased. I've been setting kind of mini goals for myself for like the month. And so like for the month of November, I have a goal of finishing the body of this sweater. And this sweater is the Donner Sweater by Elizabeth Doherty, knit in Knit Picks Lindy chain. Kitty, she's wondering what I'm talking to. And I have a lot done. So go from the armhole. I am going to be doing about 15 repeats. So I have about 5 more repeats to do of this kind of stitch. It's kind of like a weird, it's called a crest stitch. It's just kind of a slip stitch, kind of adds texture, especially in this Lindy chain, which is a linen based yarn. And so I've been setting many goals. So like for the week, last week I wanted to do 4 of the repeats. This week I want to do 5 and finish the ribbing on the bottom, which is only like a ½ inch or so. And then I'll be able to pick up for the sleeves. And so in December, I will finish the sleeves and the neckline, and I'll have a new sweater. So really enjoying this. Elizabeth Doherty writes a wonderful pattern. I think this will be a very wearable sweater for me because it is lighter weight. Haven't decided how long I'm going to do the sleeves, if I'm going to do 3/4 length or full length. I'll kind of decide after the first one. And the yarn, which as I said is the Lindy chain from Knit Picks, is 70% linen, 30% cotton, and it is not horrible to do with. It's kind of a chain kind of yarn. I do find myself splitting it sometimes, so I have to be aware. But I think actually on a few places where I did split like a ply or it come out, I think when I wash that, it's just gonna it's gonna soften up and it just kind of look right into the sweater. So really pleased with that, and I will definitely finish it in December. I'm hoping to finish it before Christmas. That's my goal. The other project I've been working on is my shawl. This is the All About Brioche shawl by Lisa Hannes, and this is a paid pattern. And it uses 2 colors of fingering weight to make a kind of asymmetrical triangular shawl. And this is the first section, and it starts from the tip and you just keep going, and then it goes into the brioche section, which let me pull up. I just finished the brioche section. So it does an alternating of the brioche where the yellow, which is my next color, is the primary, and then where the multicolor. And so then on the back it's opposite. So it goes in. So I really enjoyed knitting the brioche. The yarn, it's so scrumptious. It's Lederman Fiber Arts Show Stealer in the foliage colorway because I love foliage. And then Dipping Dots is the bright yellow. And I picked this up a few years ago at Stockinette Zombie Retreat. And this is an 80-10-10, the Show Stealer. So it is really luscious and soft, and I just love it. And it's gonna make me happy when I'm done. Now that I'm into the last section, which is another garter stick section a la this kind of, which on camera, my pooling looks crazy. In person, it is not quite as glaring. It's more blendy, but the camera's sort of blowing out the colors, so it makes it look like I can see that crazy pooling, but in person, it doesn't look that crazy to me. Anyways, I have to finish this fall of foliage, and the way it's written is I'll be able to just keep doing the pattern until I use all the ball up. So this is the other thing I'm hoping to finish in December, also before Christmas, because I have the goal before New Year's of cleaning off my needles. I have a new pair of socks on the needles, and this was one I decided on a while ago when I was putting together some projects. It is a sock that is intended for my mother, and the pattern is called Ruki by Yuka, which is I think a Japanese designer. And let's see if I have a picture of the socks. It's a kind of a cool, I don't have a good picture of the socks, I guess. Here, it's really light, but yeah, you can't really tell the detail on there. But there's a kind of a faux cable detail and a faux kind of waffle stitch detail on the foot. And you can kind of see how far I got. So here's the waffle stitch, and it's really gonna come up. And then this is kind of like a faux cable detail, which it looks cable-y, but as she describes it, it's really done with Knit Two Together's SSK and knitting into the back loop of a yarn over. So it's a flat looking kind of cable crossing, so it doesn't have any bulk. Yeah, and then the yarn is Wandering Wool Ossable Sock in the Knitting in the Nashville Night colorway that I got at the last SSK I went to in 2014. So this was another one of the yarns that I wanted to use up because it had been in my stash for a long time. So it's a really pretty purple. Yeah, I'm not loving the knit because it is a little, not fiddly, but the pattern repeat is kind of, but it's more work than I like in a sock. I'm really, every time I do like a pattern or a very patterned sock, I remember that I really like very simple knitting on my socks. But I also, once I start it, I'll finish it. So I am going to finish that by Christmas, fingers crossed. That I'm not as concerned with finishing by Christmas because I'm going to work on it here and there. Basically, I do an assignment to myself, and so I'm going to try to finish like 3 repeats of the pattern, which is like 30 rows every week until the socks are done. And that probably would actually have me finishing them in January. So that's what I'm knitting on. I'm going to do a quick thing. I'm wearing my Brinja cardigan. Oh, hi, kitty. Cloudy's going to come say hi. How you feeling, baby? How you feeling? She doesn't really like to be held, but she tolerates it for a second. She'll purr if I touch her long enough, but look at that fish. Look at that fish. Okay, grumpy old lady. Anyways, I was talking about the sweater I'm wearing. This is my house sweater, and this is the Brinja by, I forget who, it's in my pattern pages, and it is done in Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool, and you can see where I did not alternate colors, so I have a beautiful color thing, but I love this sweater. I wear it all the time, like when I'm home. Like, I just put it on as my house sweater, and I did notice, or not notice, I had a hole in it, and you can't really tell, but I basically fixed that sucker. I totally grafted with a darning egg and darned the crap out of it. Inside, you can see where I have that extra layer, but I think I had something bite it, or the cat. She likes this wool. But I was really proud of myself that I actually, it's the first time I actually ever, not maybe the first time, but one of the first times I darned. I don't do it very often. Most of the time, if like a sock springs a hole, I consider that yay, and I do the yarn house way of darning and say, oh darn, as I drop them in the trash. Not because I can't darn them, but because I have so many socks that I want a new pair of socks. So I actually like to wear my socks out. That means, and most of my socks last 6 years, 7 years before they blow a hole, which I think is a very acceptable amount of time for a knit sock. So I'm going to continue for the holidays knitting on this. As I said, my goal is to clear off my needles. And so if I finish these early and I'm looking for something to knit on, I'm going to knit on my sock scrap linen stitch blanket. And that linen stitch blanket is going to get done next year. I'm going to make it a priority next year. But because I don't really have mindless knitting to bring with me, and I have a family holiday dinner tomorrow, I will be casting on another pair of socks today, and just doing kind of a mindless. And I went into my stash and I picked out Savvy Skeins and Sensible Sock in this fracture colorway. So these will be a pair of socks for my boyfriend. And yeah, I'm just going to do some pretty mindless pattern. I might just do like, I don't know, a knit stitch or something. I mean, a ribbing stitch. I don't know. Something relatively mindless. Not like the other one, which I'm doing, you know, twisted ribbing and alternating pearls and yeah, too much patterning. Anyways, let's talk about what's been going on. Since we last recorded, I had went to Stitches SoCal. So the Stitches program last year, I think it was last year was the first year, started doing a stitches in Southern California in Pasadena, which is super close to me. Last year I went with my mom and she had taken a quilting class and I had taken like a crochet class. This year, no classes, and I just wasn't feeling any classes. I'm not really a class person. So I didn't do any classes, and I didn't really need a lot of things because I'd just come back from Rhinebeck. So on Sunday, the market was free, and so I got together with my friend Priscilla, who I don't see nearly enough and lives not that far away from me. And we went over and met up at the market on Sunday and walked around for a few hours and then had some lunch. And that was a beautiful day. Didn't really get to see anyone, a lot of people. I know a lot of people had gone through from their Instagram. And on Sunday, I didn't really see any people, but so it goes. I'm really sad I missed my friend Laura of the Dizzy Blonde Studios. She was actually there vending, but every time I went by her booth, she wasn't there, and I didn't see her walking around. So sadly, I missed her. I did see my friend Jill and from the Skinning It Up podcast, so that was nice. Anyways, even though I didn't need anything, I still picked up some things. I was trying to limit myself to kind of unique things, dyers I don't have, and sock yarn for the boyfriend, because when I was looking through for that skein, a lot of the colors I have are not necessarily colors I'd make him socks from. So what did I pick up? The first thing, I got 4 things, so not bad. One of the things I got is unique sock, and it comes in this cool little kit, and it's a merino nylon base, but what this is it's hand-dyed, self-striping, matching sock kit. So they already put the yarn into 2 matching balls for you. The other thing I liked on this is that they had a picture of the colorway on the back, and so you could see what the colors were going to be and choose from that. So I thought that was really cool. I haven't really seen this. The only other person I knew who I've bought kind of this matching sock set from was years ago from Mustache. She did that. So this was pretty cool, and I like the colors and the striping, and I think he'll like them. So I picked up these, and this was picked up from one of the yarn stores that was doing, that had a booth there. The next thing I picked up was from the Fiber Lady, and this is a vendor that I saw last year. They have a lot of cotton and linen blends, and very unique. And so this one is it's really cool. It's different, which I like. So it's a sport weight, and it's called Black Gold, and it is 87% bamboo rayon and 30% Serona. And the owner was telling me that the Serona is a fiber, forget what he told me, but it's a unique fiber that only he has in his yarns. Like, it is something very unique to him that he requested or had specially spun up. So yeah, and I like the sport weight because, as I said, and I think that these colors will be really kind of interesting knit up and an interesting different blend for my boyfriend to have. So this was Bouncy Boo, kind of squishy, shiny and squishy, and I can't wait to knit with it. The next one I got was a dyer. I just really liked their booth, and they were very friendly. I think it was, I talked to the owner for a little bit when I was looking, but she had just beautiful colors, and she had come down, I think, from Washington, and I like to support dyers who are traveling because it can be very difficult to, make the show worthwhile. And this is Apple Fiber Studio, and this is her Harvest Moon colorway. It is a sockway. She's out of Bellingham, Washington, and I just like these colors. As you can see, I do knit a lot of blues for the boyfriend because it is one of his favorite colors, and I just really like this. I also like that when I picked it up, even though it is an alpaca merino nylon, and she had asked what I was doing it for, and I said socks, and she says okay. She kind of was like, watch out, because it will, if you put it in the dryer, it will shrink a little because of the alpaca. And I said that was fine because I don't put my socks in the dryer. I hand dry my socks. I wash my socks in the washing machine, but then I let them air dry. So Apple Fiber Studio, beautiful, beautiful colors. There were lots of things that I wanted, and I just resisted. Then the last thing that was kind of a spur of the moment buy, This is Dialect Studio. She's actually local, new. I've never heard of her, but she was carrying this base that I haven't seen. And it is she calls it a cocoon slub textured fingering. And you can see it is basically a slubby fingering weight yarn, and it is 90% merino, 10% nylon. The colorway I got is concrete and steel. She was the only dyer I had seen having this base. This is a base I have not seen before. Not sure what I'm going to do with it. I'm thinking kind of like a fingering weight hat with all slubby would be really cool. But I do like to pick up things that are kind of unique and different, and this was unique and different, and I was really happy to get it. So yeah, so I guess I wonder if slubby fingering is kind of make a way back. So that is all I got. It is in my, look, I got a cool little basket from Target. It was like in their front section where, you know, things are like $3. So I was looking for a new little basket for some of my knit stuff. So this is going to hold next to the couch kind of things. So that's all I got of stitches. So not bad, only got 4 skeins. So I did not add to my stash that much, and it was all kind of sock yarn that I can knit with, or a unique project for me. So I was happy. What else? Advent. So Christmas is coming up. Last year I got a beautiful advent calendar from Suburban Stitcher. I did not this year. I have a lot of sock yarns and scraps, and so I didn't feel like I wanted to get a whole advent calendar of minis. So as much as I love opening them every day, it stressed me out a little bit. So instead, I was on Instagram and I followed her for years, Kirby Werby, and she was doing a Christmas vacation advent skein. And so this is 24 stripe sock yarn inspired by Christmas Vacation, the movie. How awesome is it? And I haven't seen all the stripes knit up, but look how colorful it is. And then she sent a kind of a what all of the different color stripes were inspired by. So like the neon yellow into dark purple, into greenish brown, bright red, and she put like little quotes on where she got them from, what she was inspired by. Like the grayish brown, squirrel! So I am going to work on this today. I'm going to break it into 2 because I want to, I think, knit 2 socks at a time. So the idea is that for my advent, I'm going to knit 1 stripe a day on these socks, and they are going to be for me, probably. They could also always be for my mother, but we have the same feet. So if I knit them for me and decide they're for my mom, but anyways. So yeah, so I'm going to not knit 2 socks at a time on 1 circular. I actually have enough sock needles that I think I'm just going to knit 2 socks on 2 different needles, and I'm going to separate this yarn into 2 balls. So yeah, super excited with that. Kirby Werby, if you haven't seen her, she is a small dyer. She does it as, you know, a hobby out of her home, but she has the most beautiful colorways and the most beautiful daughter. Her daughter is adorable. So check her out, Kirby Werby. You can find her on Instagram and Etsy. So that is all of my acquisitions that I have. Yeah. This Sunday, it's not even Sunday. It feels like Sunday, but just this, it's actually Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I have been enjoying podcasts. I listen to a lot of audio and watch a lot of video podcasts, but I'm going to focus on audio. In addition to knitting podcasts, I listen to interview podcasts. I started with the Armchair Expert by Dax Shepard, whom I love, and he interviews a lot of celebrities as well as scholars and experts in their field, and just does a really great interview kind of discussion with them on all sorts of things. And through him, I learned about 2 new podcasts, newish podcasts that are in the same kind of style that are done also. And so one is Life is Short with Justin Long, who's an actor. He does a podcast with his brother, and he interviews celebrities and things like there. And I just love his conversational style, and he's very funny. And so I started listening to him. And then another one that just started is called Sibling Revelry with Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson. And the two of them together are hilarious. And they focus on interviewing siblings, and usually like one famous sibling and one other, their other sibling, and talking about the relationship of siblings and how growing up together and different things. And so it's very interesting, and they're very fun together. So if you're looking for some new audio podcasts, I definitely recommend Life is Short and Sibling Revelry. On TV, I have been watching Call the Midwife, the latest season. Love Call the Midwife. I can't get enough of British television, but Call the Midwife focuses on the midwives that live in Poplar, which is a poor section of London in I think we're in the 60s now, early 60s. And that's when midwives used to go around to people's home and provide services. So very well done. I mean, on season 8, and they're all on Netflix. So if you're looking for a kind of show, it's very good. Also watch the latest season of Schitt's Creek that was on Netflix. This is a comedy out of Canada done by Eugene Levy and Daniel Levy, his son. Very funny, half-hour comedy, and highly enjoyable. I think they only have one more season, and then they're ending the show, and I think the season's about to air, so that makes me sad, but it is very funny. And then the other thing I watched was The Good Witch, this is sort of my, not a guilty pleasure, but it is just a nice show. Like, there is no real drama. I mean, there is drama, but it is just such a nice, sweet, wholesome show. And I really enjoy watching it. It has been on for a few years. I was up to season 5, and so it was fun to watch. Then the other thing that I'm watching on HBO, which I have through one of, I think, our cell phone or his cell phone, but I was going through and I noticed I'm watching Miss Sherlock, which is a Japanese-based version of the Sherlock kind of genre. So one of the women, they're both women, which I find very interesting. And one is the Sherlock, the genius who solves things. And then the doctor, her sidekick, who's like the Watson, is a former doctor. And it's just very interesting. What I find interesting about it is because it's based in Japan and it's based in Tokyo, and seeing kind of the whole view of kind of solving mysteries in relation to a different culture. And it is all subtitled, but it's very enjoyable to watch. So I am halfway through that season, and I'll probably finish that out this weekend. So that's what I have been watching. Books, I'm still on the Wheel of Time series. I have slowed down in terms of listening because I had so many podcasts to listen to. So I'm not getting through my book as fast, which is fine. But I'm still on book 10 of that, and I have 4 more to go. Yeah, so that is what has been going on. Upcoming travels. Well, it's not really travels, but we'll be having Thanksgiving dinner at my boyfriend's family's house, which is nice, tomorrow. They're relatively close, so we just go for the day. In December, the big trip is my niece is coming. So I had mentioned that my sister is pregnant with her 3rd child, will be my 2nd niece, and she is due right around Christmas. So I decided for something special for my niece, who is 9, almost 10, that she is going to come out for a week for Christmas. And so she's really, really excited about it. It'll be the first time she flies on a plane by herself. We are coming out, and we are planning, how I'm kind of planning it is a day of busyness with a day of, as she calls it, her slug time, because my niece does like to hang out on the couch. So yeah, I'm looking forward. We're going to hit Disneyland, Magic Mountain, and I think we're going to go to the Rose Bowl Parade, which is something I've never done, as I said. So that's really exciting, and she is looking forward to it. So she's very excited, and I'm excited to have her. I love having my niece and nephew come visit. Yeah. Now I'll have a new niece, so in a few years she'll come visit me too. Then in January, I think I'm going to go see my girlfriend in Cleveland. I have to buy the tickets. It was funny when I was checking out dates. She's like, "You realize it's cold," and I know it's going to be a miserable weather, but it's the time I have to actually go. And I've been meaning to go for a while, and this is time I have. February, I'm going to be attending Stitches West. I do have a room. I haven't made my travel plans yet. I'm probably going to fly up though. And I invited my friend Priscilla to come, but if not, I think I'll probably be heading up by myself this time. Check out all my friends up there. And then in April, I fortunately have to miss my normal WonderCon and my Knockers retreat because I will be going to Morocco with my brother for 2 weeks, which I'm very excited about. And I will be using the same tour group that I used on my India trip a few years ago. So it's Wandering Earl. It does great small group trips that I really enjoy. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then in July, because I missed WonderCon, I put in the lottery for the San Diego Comic-Con, which is the big one, the mother of all. And I actually got tickets for Thursday and Sunday. So I'm excited. So the boyfriend and his son and I will be going down, and we'll be at the con on Thursday and Sunday. And in between, we'll probably be staying at his brother's in San Diego, his brother's boat. So yeah, so that's kind of what I have upgoing. Work continues as it always does. So we're heading into sort of a quietish time. The holidays it tends to be. And we're at a quietish time at work. We're just trying to finish up my project and close it out. So that's good. I think that's all I got for you today. I hope everyone is enjoying a hot mug of their beverage of choice and knitting time. That's what I'm going to go do, and listen to the rain, which I love listening to the rain. Love the rain. And yeah, get some knitting done. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday if you're in the US with friends and family, and heading into the holiday season of Christmas, which I'm not making Christmas gifts. I am going to make a white elephant gift. So we're going to do a white elephant gift exchange in 2 or 3 weeks at work. And I've decided, I think I work with all guys and I want to focus on something funny. And I think I'm going to do like a turkey hat or one of the fornicating deer hats or something like that. Because they're always like, make me a hat, make me a hat. So I'm going to put that into the white elephant. So I got to get that done. I actually got to pull some yards and stuff for that this weekend. But that shouldn't take that long. Anyways, everyone, bye. That's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. Oh.